And we are back here at 8:07 a.m. And as promised, Dr. Lawrence Schovanec, president of Texas Tech University, is here in the studio with us. Good morning there.
Good morning, Dave.
Mr. President.
Good morning, Matt.
Good morning.
Happy New Year.
To you also. Well, I guess school is back in session?
No.
No, not yet.
It's still...
It's LISD that's back in session
yes.
yesterday. I get that confused all the time.
It's kind of embarrassing, but I don't know exactly what day.
Well,
I think faculty report for duty, I think, on the 14th, and then the school classes start shortly thereafter.
So, do we know yet how big the class will be for the second semester?
No. In fact, we just had a few meetings this week already to look at the enrollment. It's pretty much flat as it was last spring. But in terms of how we count enrollment, as it determines our funding from the state, that's based on the fall data. And so, and as we go into this session, even though there's so much focus on the new initiatives like the vet school, the dental school, the Institute for Mental Health, our basic and fundamental priority is always the formula. That's what funds most of what we do at Tech. Good part of what we do.
Just did a story. It's up. The state revenue, surprisingly, according to the experts, is up 8.1%.
Yeah, I think that's about $9 billion more than they had in the last session.
Yeah, they have $119 billion.
They were low last session.
Right. But when you look at where most of the money goes, you have medical care, public education, prisons, the pensions that the state has to pay. And what actually is left over is there for higher ed to kind of fight over. Mm-hmm. So I don't think we're going to be flush in money, but it's still encouraging.
Yeah, it is. Hey, we do want to remind folks that our internet has been down this morning, but it's back up now. And if you'd like to shoot us a text message with a question for Dr. Schovanec, please do so. 806-680-2790 is our number. And I'm sure Dr. Schovanec would love to answer any questions that you may have.
And Dave, I think as we go into this session, I know this point has been made before, but beyond our base funding that's provided by the formula, much attention and effort has been focused on the vet school. So, there's really two issues we have to deal with. One, to get the funding for the exceptional item that would provide for the startup of the vet school. And that would be something that the state would provide through 3 to 4 sessions. And beyond that, it would stand alone on the revenue it generates through tuition and formula. And then we will have to get approval from the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. And we haven't exactly decided what our strategy will be as to when we take it to the coordinating board. We'd like to wait and see the state's commitment to the financial support, and it looks very good. Whether that will be an exceptional item or possibly be written into the base budget, we don't know. But we were very encouraged by Speaker Bonham's comments when he was here last December, and I think we should all be very positive about his leadership in the House.
Well, we had Eddie McBride from the Lubbock Chamber on yesterday, and the Lubbock Chamber is holding hands now with a group, a PAC. I guess it's a PAC, isn't it, in Amarillo? And so there's a lot of positive momentum for the vet school. And I think the Lubbock Chamber donated $15,000 to them for their lobbying efforts and all.
That's right. They were up at Amarillo on the campus there yesterday, and I saw a picture of the mayor in the paper. I guess he did that after his State of the City address. Yeah. But that was very positive as well. I mean, there's much good going on around here. And as I drove over to your station here this morning, I thought, man, this traffic is really bad.
That's a good thing. Commerce.
Yeah, I guess.
You got road construction.
And then wait till the students get back.
Yeah. The good news is that the traffic is bad, and the bad news is traffic is bad.
Right. But even last night, I think you saw at the game, that was a big-time environment. Mm-hmm. For Texas Tech to be on that stage with that kind of crowd, where even the Oklahoma coach commented, that's great. That's the same thing you heard in New York City when we were there playing Duke. Coach Beard and that team have really excited a lot of people. And Coach Stallings is doing a tremendous job. And just yesterday, we got a request, I think it was from the Texas Tribune, Chris, that they wanted to ask a few questions about what we pay coaches, what's the value, what's the return. And it is a lot of money, but it means so much in terms of, galvanizing support for the university and bringing the community together. The only thing that would be, I can't wait till next football season to have that same kind of crowd in the stadium.
So what do you, as far as that's concerned, what do you think of Kliff Kingsbury getting hired on at NFL, Arizona Cardinals?
That's, I say congratulations to him.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. And, I think it speaks to the reputation he has as an offensive mind. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of odd when you think about it that things didn't work out here as he'd hoped and we hoped, but yet he's had numerous opportunities. And you know that USC and Arizona weren't the only things that were dangled in front.
Quite a few people contacting him.
I guess that kind of gives you an idea of the quality of people we have at Tech.
Yeah.
One of the big things that is selling alcohol now at the games.
Yeah.
I had a very negative experience with that when I was announcing for the band. We went the band down to Houston, and that was a few years ago. And they sell not only beer and wine, but they have mixed drinks that you can buy. And I'll tell you, we had to fight our way in to the band into the stadium and fight our way out. So there was a lot of problems associated with it, and I hope that we don't see that. I hope the university is taking steps to prevent that.
They are. But I was there last night, and maybe it's because I'm oblivious to this, but it seems like a non-issue in terms of how it has changed the atmosphere of the game, and we want it to be that way. I think it's going to be a bigger challenge when we get into football.
I think it will too, because a lot of people drink a little too much when they're tailgating, and then when you don't serve it in the stands, they can sober up a little bit. But if they continue to drink, it can create some problems,
And Kirby did a lot of research on what went on at other schools where they have had drinking. And I know some people kind of roll their eyes when I've told them this, but at those places where they instituted drinking, and they claim that it reduces the binge drinking of students. When I said that to my son, he said, I doubt it, because why would you go inside and pay $8 for a beer when you can get a case out there at much less? But they also keep stands it keeps people in the stands.
Well, so one thing I read was that if you leave the stadium, you don't get back in.
That's right.
So I think that that in of itself, you're talking about a lot of the students are under 21. They're not going to be able to get alcohol at the stadium.
That's right.
So if they have alcohol back in their car, they're not going to be able to get back in the stadium.
And that's probably what's going on right now. That's part of what's going on. But we'll see. I think it's been pretty smooth so far.
Let's take a quick break and come back with more with Dr. Schovanec after this. Back with Dr. Schovanec now. Still a lot of things to talk about, and of course, one is the grants. Yeah, right. So the situation.
You're referring to some recent announcements that there's a program at Texas Tech called U.S. Prep. Well, actually, it's a national program that originated from the teacher preparation program in the College of Education. About 3 or 4 years ago, the Gates Foundation awarded $8 million to take that program at Tech and duplicate it at other universities, and that whole system of schools is called U.S. Prep. We were just notified yesterday that there will be a roundtable discussion in Washington, D.C. next week organized by Secretary of Education DeVos, where Texas Tech will be participating in that conversation about U.S. Prep.
Wonderful.
It's an amazing program, and what's neat about it is it's designed to train teachers to be in districts that traditionally have difficulty in attracting teachers, or where there is a concern about the quality of teacher preparation. And I've told this story before, maybe even on this show, but I remember when they announced the launching of U.S. Prep, it took place in Jackson, Mississippi. And I went there. I was provost at the time, and I jumped into a cab to go over to the site. Somebody got in with me, and I asked them, "Where are you from?" They said they were from the Harvard Education Center. And they said, "We're here to learn about teach at Texas Tech University." That's pretty cool. And
coincidence.
And the fact that now the Secretary of Education wants Tech to be featured in this program about U.S. prep, I think is pretty cool. And what's neat about that program is some of the same things that relate to the vet school. There's a belief there that when you train people in a certain area, maybe areas that are part of where they were raised, where they're from, they're more inclined to stay there, teach there, and practice there. And that's part of the philosophy of the new distributed educational model for the vet school. Students will be recruited in a very intentional way, students that indicate they'd like to be in rural areas practicing large animal care. And as they go to these clinical sites around the state, they'll be engaged in the community, more likely to stay in those communities and practice veterinarian care.
Now, something I found interesting about the vet school that Eddie McBride had yesterday was that more people from the state of Texas go outside the state of Texas for a vet school than are actually even in a vet school program in the state of Texas.
Yeah, Matt, that's kind of an essential part of the argument that this is about need and access. If you look at the lack of veterinarian care in rural areas, it's kind of undisputed. But also, roughly 500 or so new vets are licensed every year in Texas. About 23% will come out of the A&M Vet School, which is a superb vet school. About 20% are going to go down to the Caribbean at private schools and practice. And then the other 45 or so percent are going to go to Colorado State, Oklahoma State, Kansas State. Now, those students that go down to the Caribbean are going to come back with an average of about $250,000 in debt. Those that go out of state come back with less, but it's significantly more than those who are educated in the state. Mm-hmm. So what do? With that kind of debt, they're probably less inclined to come to rural areas and practice out here. They're going to find their way along the I-35 corridor, dealing with cats and dogs, and that's where they are congregating. And so
you're also more likely to lose those people forever to other locations.
That's right. That's true. I think a lot. I forget the number, but they've actually looked up how many of those that go out that come in here from out of state where Texans originally, and the great majority are. There are Texans who want to practice veterinary medicine that don't have a place in the vet school and college station. They accept about 140. They're going to go up to 160. We're talking about 40 in the first class and then 60. There is a great demand for seats in vet schools. What we're doing out here will have no impact on the enrollment at A&M.
Yeah, I can't believe it would with so many leaving the state.
Right. It's an issue. Not only like I'm talking about veterinary school, but increasingly, what you see in Texas, we're one of the few states that still have a growing population of high school graduates. You go to Dallas and Austin, and you'll see the offices for admissions at Ole Miss, LSU, Arkansas, Alabama. People are coming here to get Texas talent.
Mm. Well, and I'll tell you, Tech's. It looks like we are out of time. So
it goes fast.
Yeah,
and we didn't even get to talk about the Carnegie classification, but that's for another time.
Good. Always good to have you, Dr.
Thank you,
Schovanec.
Dave. Thank you, Matt.